All right, good morning. It's Thursday, October 19th, 2023. Present today are Councilman Clay, appointed officials, Public Works Director Troy Kruger, City Attorney Mr. Paul Jensen, and Finance Officer Chandra Phillips. CJ Hawkinson, the Electrical Superintendent, is also present. I'll let you guys go ahead and start out.
I've got Kurt's budget here. It's got revenues and at the mayor's request, 3 pages.
I like it.
I really don't have a whole lot for electric. Kurt's, more of an update meeting.
I do on the expenses. When you look at the expenses, right now they're at 79.32%. You have 599,000 remaining. But if you take a look at that third page, part of your budget is an $850,000 transfer out.
Yep.
You're 260,000 short right now of even, and that's if we didn't operate the rest of the way.
I don't have the current one, but, so that's just the expenses, flip it over.
That's the first
That number
transfer.
does change then, once you put that 850 in there to the 1,440,000.
Okay, I panicked, Troy.
Yeah, that's why I have 551 circle on every page.
Gotcha. CJ, relax. Don't listen to me, okay? Listen to Troy.
I don't think you ever got nervous, did you, Kurt?
Well, I was looking, I was like, well, I haven't hardly spent anything too much on there.
Maybe I shouldn't have printed all 3 pages.
No, I like that because that transfer's got to be a part of that at the end of the year. And I didn't think that was part of, I see it now. Great. Troy, thanks for correcting me, or Chandra. CJ, roll on.
It's, we got a couple things left to do kind of up on Plum and Trip. We're pretty much cut over up there. We have one more, it's 2 more spots to cut over and then we can start taking down all of that line. We've been deploying meters coming in the morning for businesses and stuff like that.
What's your total right now?
We got 830 meters out there. We still have
1,000.
probably
Yep.
on there. Right now, we're doing mainly businesses and 3-phase ones. I think we got 12 more that we have to rewire the way that CTs are. And then I think we have 12 more 3-phase that like the water guys are reading when they go read their water. So I think we got on those ones and those will be done. Then we'll be kind of back where we can do kind of residentials and stuff like that, so on it. It's kind of, we're gonna try it, if the snow doesn't fly, we'll try to get the loop done for Elevate, kind of where they brought the water line in on there, as long as it doesn't start snowing early like it did last year on there. Or get 5 more inches of rain. It's kind of the downfall right now, so.
I called the stoplight people yesterday and no change in the status of our control box yet. It's still on its way to their facility, but they do not know when. They're telling us the end of October, 1st of November.
That's almost here. That's only a couple weeks away.
Yeah.
It seems to be working okay right now. The stop signs helped a lot. I haven't seen anybody blowing it lately, not since you put the stop signs up.
No, it's just, I don't know how it's working for like the ambulance.
Yeah.
That's That's, that's one thing.
I have not noticed that.
Because the sound, whatever they call them again, the picking up the siren sounds, or so it's switching the lights, and, that obviously isn't working, the box is completely out, so. Yeah, the four-way stop seems to be working okay. I mean, people are getting used to it, and then we'll go back to, so for a couple days after it switches over, they'll probably blow through a green light.
Yeah, they'll stop at a green light and take off.
The only other thing I got is, I think, like I mentioned earlier in the week on Monday night, Kurt and I and Ty had a really good visit with DGR people. And our $30,000 that we spent to do a system study, we'll be wrapping that up here pretty soon. And then those guys are gonna come down and give full counsel. So I don't know if if you want to do it on a special night, or you want to do it during an actual council session, or, but they would like to come down and give everybody their presentation and their recommendations for us as a city going forward. They've got it phased, like phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. We've tried to look at, on the electrical side, we've tried to look at like every scenario possible and the growth of winter and where we might be needing to get more, what areas of town where we need to get more power, and our long-term, where we're, like where we're sitting long-term with our substation out there, and where we need to, maybe start putting some money aside for some, replacements. And we'll probably, in the future, I guess, probably be making contact with Rosebud Electric and having some meetings with them and seeing what their thoughts are, and because we share that ownership of that one transformer, and just a lot of different scenarios to look at and plan for in the future. So I'm looking forward to that. It's super good information for the city, and being our electric utility, one of our bigger deals, we need to plan for that and have a 5, 10, 15, 20-year plan. But they're gonna be a answer, they'll give you what they found and where they think we should go, and recommendations based on the information that Kurt and Ty and I have given them, and then questions and answers.
I'm sure it won't be a comfortable conversation. It's needed. It's way easier to look the other way and ignore potential issues coming. But-
Actually, in my mind, it's a very comfortable situation because we have a plan.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, and we need to have a plan. We
In light of
really
what
do.
the
Because it's
situation-
scary. When you come in and tell us, oh, if it goes down, we're in deep trouble and we can't afford to repair it. So, I hear what you're saying.
In light of what the situation was, we didn't know a lot of stuff that was going on the sub, the contracts, and I take responsibility for that. I guess, you don't, I read the, you go through them, but you never find the real answers. I didn't know, I knew I didn't know what our backup was. I didn't know what our plan was if something goes out. That's some of the stuff we're gonna address, is if that sub, something major happens to that sub, if we can put together something to backfeed the city so we're not completely out. That's all part of that scenario process, and a plan to, you would have never thought that in 1 year we'd have 2 complete outages for 5 hours, or, just don't ever think of that stuff happening, and it happened twice in 1 year. And I don't know, they didn't really find much when they did that last one, did they?
I haven't talked to him. When I talked to him about it the first time, he was rattling off how busy he was, so I didn't bother him. I sent him an email, and he hasn't responded back, but I can reach out and call him and see if I can get some more information from him. It looked like, I drove out there and looked like they just cleaned it up, and it looked good to me, I guess, from on the ground, so I'm assuming that's what he kind of found, that it just needed to be cleaned up is all. So
But there's always a possibility that they might plan another 5-hour outage so that they can repair something, and then that we sit here in the dark for 5 hours again, so.
It's better to do it when it's not cold, of course.
Yeah, this is the time of year to be doing it right now. Fall or spring. Not super hot, not super cold.
No, I agree, we need a plan.
Yeah, your three major utilities, your electric, your water, and your sewer. You expect them to work every day no matter what.
What else you know for the good of the city?
Nothing. Needs to dry up a little bit out there. We could have that happen now.
Transformers, hear anything? Availability, any change?
Nothing like that. I was talking to a salesman yesterday, and he kind of said it's kind of about the same thing. They're kind of dialing it down a little bit where they can say this is the amount that we can produce, but he's thinking that the 2-3 year thing is kind of going to be kind of normal. That company, they're kind of, they'll get a few trickling in and stuff like that, so kind of things people backing out on or something like that. But he said there's some of the bigger utilities, there's a lot of worry out there for them. He didn't know why as much, but he said they're probably just not seeing as many as that they have in the past trickling in, so they're buying from this guy and that guy and kind of really doing the toilet paper shortage thing, I guess, for the transformers. But I think kind of on our last count, yeah, we can keep burying where we're at probably 2 years, I think. Then we'd be at the point where I wouldn't set any more out because we need to have some backups and stuff like that. I think it was last week they came and took, Jerry's Electric came and took transformers from us to see if they can rebuild them for us. Like we had 4 pad mount transformers that they were gonna rebuild. Then I can't remember how many overhead tubs, but then we did have to change one out because it was leaking. And it was, when we got it back to the shop, it was something that I guess seen quite often, the way it was leaking, so
Is the oil leaking or is
Yeah.
seep electricity coming out?
no, just the oil's
Oil's
leaking
leaking.
on it, yeah. And it's on a fuse portion of it, I think, on there. And it's, I don't wanna say it's common, but I did see a lot of it at my last job when we fixed them, so I ordered parts for it.
You seal the housing back up then, does that count?
It's a bayonet fuse, so it protects the secondary side, and all it is there's a rubber grommet up there, and that thing kind of deteriorates, and when you like push it, when you stick the bayonet in there, and then there's like a kind of clasp that comes over to lock it in place, it'll push that rubber grommet thing kind of and make a seal right there, and those will kind of go bad, and so I've seen that, and that's kind of a common thing, and when they brought it back, I pulled it out, and I'm like, yeah, it's not even moving, so I think that's what it is.
So is a transformer like an electric motor in there or something?
It's all
or
coils.
Coils.
Yep, copper
Okay.
coils all, and then there's oil to keep it insulated, and everything like that to keep it cool on there, so.
So the copper coils do set in a vat
bath,
of oil
yep,
or something
yep.
inside the exterior housing?
Yep, and then that was what's kind of leaking, so oil will seep out of there. Oil, I mean, if it was a perfect world, you would change those out, but it's also one of those things that you kind of just watch them, you leave them out there at this time because you don't have anything to replace it or anything like that. This one, we just swapped one out from what they're telling us, and And I got that stuff ordered, probably won't see it till next year, but, ordered a couple extra of them to have on hand, and they weren't, it's like $200 for, I think, 4 of them I got. And so put that back in there. And it should be good to go on there. With the oil seeping, yeah, you just kind of look at it. The bad thing is it will kill grass, you know, right
But
around.
it's not dangerous.
No. On it, they've been tested, or this one had the stickers that it doesn't have PCBs in it. I think it's like a mineral oil or something they put in them now on there, I guess. I wouldn't drink it, but I think if it did come into you drink it, you'd be all right, but
Okay.
on it, so.
The Eagles are safe.
I don't know. I got 12 years of it being on my hands, I guess. I don't have any extra fingers. I haven't lost any either, so there's always a bonus on it. But that was kind of, that was down in where we were working and they seen it, and so we just changed it out, and so on there, but we'll,
I was just kinda curious if, and I don't know how they work, of course, but if it's seeping oil, electricity can't come out of it, or?
No, the one thing you gotta worry about is if they do leak all that oil out, I mean, it could potentially kind of blow up or.
Get too hot.
Yeah, get too hot on them, but I guess I've seen videos of it, but never seen it happen with them on there. Then, yeah, on Plum Street, the one thing, we probably won't lose all the poles down there, so if that was kind of people's idea, because we do have street lights on them, so if somebody comes back and says, why aren't all these poles, and we might have to, in the spring, there's a couple of feed points for the street light wires that I was gonna change up and everything that we might not get to this year, so there'll be, when I count, I think we'll only lose 3 poles right there on Plum Street. We'll lose the main one that, you know, to get that street in there, obviously, but as far as the street lights, don't forget about that when you come back and say, well, all the poles aren't gone or something like that on it, so, but
You still plan on doing a bunch of poles on 7th Street yet this fall?
try to. I'm gonna try, we got we gotta cut the north side of Trip over one more spot. We cut over, the, kind of this, they had underground tubs to feed kind of, was it Spruce Court area in there? We cut all that stuff over. Now we have to cut over the 2 overhead tubs that were back behind on the south side of Trip down there. And that'll be kind of a more longer outage for that south side of Trip, just the houses that we're cutting over at that point. And hoping to get that done Friday, Monday-ish. We'll notify them, but hopefully that'll work out. Then I'm hoping that we can go and finish our loop out by Elevate where they dug the water line in before the snow flies. And I don't think that'll take too long.
That might be the 1st of November.
Yeah,
They're talking about a major system
really?
coming through the first week of November.
I see
First
next
of November's coming.
it gets to 40 next week. I think Thursday next week it was going down to 40, but then yeah, we'll try to do some on 7th Street right there with it. But if we don't get the 4 foot of snow in one shot or whatever like we got last year, we can do it during the winter time a little bit too, where last year it wasn't that good and it seemed like we were chasing everything too, so. But
Yeah, we do need a little drying up before we get white stuff. We're gonna be in the same boat we were in last year.
yeah.
That's it. That's a wrap.
That's it?